I guess you're right. I mean, Hallows is very grounded based on probably on mythology. Troll Hunter, the same. This is more of a cosmic horror kind of, because it doesn't play with any old tropes of forest. It's not based in anything real, I would say. So yeah, it'd be a weird combo to join them up. But I do that one guy becomes kind of like a tree person, doesn't he? In the
You
Hallows?
mean the guy that gets murdered by the tree? Oh, in the
Yeah,
Hallows.
doesn't he become a tree person or like a wood
I
person?
believe, I think, yeah, he got kind of overtaken by the forest spirits, if you will. And but he overcame it just enough to like save his wife
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
at the end. Well, yeah, it's like he got afflicted again, like the Thing or something, or anything in these things. It's like you got touched or infected. You're slowly being overtaken. There's a little humanity left. The humanity is less and less and less. And he was just able to save them with his last maybe act as a human or something. But yeah, he became like a tiny ant.
Tiny.
That's a really cool movie. I think that was probably around episode 70 that we did that. We did a couple of woodsy movies. I think we do The Forest as well,
Yeah,
that
Natalie
weird
Dormer.
Natalie
Yeah.
Dormer movie with the Japanese suicide forest, and there might have even been a third movie in there.
I think that's one of the most boring films I've ever watched. But
It was not riveting.
no. Well, hey
It
John,
was not riveting.
this was awesome, man, and thank you so much for joining me. This was a blast. I'm really glad, and I'm looking forward to. So we have executive decision next because I'm going to release
Hmm.
this soon, and then we're going to do executive decision, and then we're going to have Dagon next. So I'm looking forward
Hmm.
to those two back to back. I like our trilogy
Yeah.
here.
And for our listeners, so this was part two of our Lovecraft trilogy episodes. Dagon's going to be the third. The first was Reanimator, which was episode 395, and that was actually inspired by us doing the John Carpenter Apocalypse trilogy, which was The Thing, The Prince of Darkness, and The Mouth of Madness, all of which I find very Lovecraftian in various ways. And those were episodes 250, 358, and 369. Dude, so I literally referenced a podcast that is number 37 in this episode, though.
Ah.
The cinematic trees I wouldn't want in my front yard. Like, that's been around, Mark.
Yeah, we've been around for a minute. And I do want to say one of my favorite things that we've ever done. I mean, I loved our Final Destination one, but I loved our Resident Evil.
And one day maybe we'll finally follow through on the years-long threat of doing all the Saw movies.
Oh, I mean, we could do that. I'm down because I spent a lot of time with that franchise for that video I made, and I have a whole new love of that movie. So yeah, we'll do that, and then we got Executive Decision too. That's next. So I'll look forward. And
So
then,
we got two more, and then we can go into a project.
oh, and I kind of want to do Resident Evil Raccoon City with you as well because
Oh, I still have to see that, but
yeah.
I'd love to do that. Yeah, to fully complete our anthology discussions.
I've been thinking about it a lot lately, not because it's a weird movie, John. I don't think it features anything groundbreaking or particularly memorable. There's no set pieces that um, are like the grid sequence in Resident Evil, but it's so refreshingly straightforward. it's just it's one of the most linear movies I've ever seen, and I really like how straightforward it is. So I look forward to. I don't know how much meat is on the bone to talk about, but I think it'll be fun to chat with you about it. So
I was honestly just so relieved when you put out a non-scathing review. You're like, yeah, this is fun. I'm like, oh, good. Jesus, what a relief. Because I'm going to watch it. If I own the other like 7 movies or whatever, it's like, I'm going to watch this. I have to. So.
and I mean, listen, I do think it does try to stick to the game too much, and then it doesn't branch out on its own like the Paul W. S. Anderson ones do. But I'm telling you again, John, it's just so straight. Okay, don't expect. It's a TNT movie. It's an FX movie. It's a plane movie. And I don't mean that derogatively. I think it's just really nice and straightforward. And I don't mean that to be reductive, like, oh, isn't that quite cute? No, I look forward to talking to you about it. That'll be good. All right, so go follow John on Twitter. He's at MFF Horror Corner. Follow him on Instagram. His beer and movie pairings are always a highlight. And John, anything else you want to promote? You're just on Retro Movie Geek.
I was, yeah. So we had done The Fifth Element back on our episode 81, I believe, along with Jupiter Ascending, which I always called Jupiter Rising. And so
Which is
obviously
Mercury
I've seen
Rising.
Right. It's But we had done it a while back, so I had watched it, 2 or 3 times in that week alone, even though that was a few years ago. It's a movie I watch about once a year anyway. So when someone who I knew from horror movie podcasts, but they also have this podcast, asked me to do it, and I've met this person. He lives 30 minutes away from me in Lakeland, Florida. I just thought, oh, okay, sure. What do I need to do? They're like, nothing, no preparation required. I'm like, done. So we did a whole episode on that, and I gave some shameless plugs about our episode on that, and
Nice.
it was a lot of fun. It's funny though, because when you get a couple movies together, the conversations that I had with them were so similar to my conversations with you. And just like you were so knowledgeable about the history of the movie and Luc Besson writing it when he was so young, and everything with Valerian and the City of a Thousand Planets. So too on this podcast was someone so knowledgeable in all these old comics, and I believe he's in his 50s. So he's, it's more like he was of the right age for it even at the time. And so we're talking about how why am I talking about this movie? We're going to talk about Executive Decision next.
All right. Well, hey, thank you for joining me, John. So for me, Mark Hoffmeyer, for John Levengood, go listen to the Fifth Element episode. This is Movies on the Flicks. We'll see you next week.